I stared at the river stone in my hand, its surface slick and wet, unnaturally cold against my skin. The small folded note felt heavier than it should have, trembling faintly, as if the words themselves carried a pulse. My apartment, once familiar, suddenly seemed foreign. Shadowed corners twisting unnaturally, every reflective surface shimmering faintly in the dim morning light. A metallic drip echoed somewhere in the silence. I could feel it more than hear it, a rhythmic sound that synced with my heartbeat. The hair on my arms stood straight. My mind screamed for logic, for reason, for anything normal, but there was none. It can't be real, I whispered to myself. But the stone pulsed again, stronger this time, like a heartbeat under my palm. And in that pulse, I felt a tug, a strange, unrelenting pull toward the hallway mirror. The memory of Margaret's voice slammed into me. "You shouldn't have opened it." I couldn't ignore it. I couldn't pretend this was just a cruel prank. The urge to call Clara. I dialed Clara's number, my hand shaking. She picked up immediately. Her voice was soft, tremulous. "Caleb, I got your message. Something's happening here too." Her words hung in the air like fog. The noises, at night, footsteps, whispers. A chill ran down my spine. She had experienced it too. It wasn't my imagination. Whatever had been released, or had followed me from the house, was reaching further. "Clara," I said, voice trembling. "The stone. It's pulsing. I can feel it. I don't know how, but it's alive." She exhaled sharply. "It's not just the stone. It's calling you. It remembers you." Her words, though whispered, struck me like a blow. The river. It's not done. The city shivers. I left my apartment with Clara. The streets were quiet, far quieter than they should have been for a mid-morning weekday. Streetlights cast long yellow reflections on puddles that glimmered unnaturally. Even the city seemed suspended, holding its breath. When we stepped inside my apartment again, the stone's pulse became nearly unbearable, vibrating against my palm. Mirrors, windows, even the smooth coffee table surface shimmered like rippling water. Clara froze, staring at the hallway mirror. "Caleb," she whispered, voice trembling. "It's showing itself." And there she was, Margaret, her body dripping water as if she had risen straight from the river itself, ethereal yet undeniably present. Her eyes pierced me, hollow and unyielding. "Caleb, you cannot hide." I stumbled back, almost dropping the river stone. Cold tendrils of air brushed against my legs, creeping upward. Shadows stretched unnaturally, forming faces I couldn't identify, whispering my name. "Do not let it touch you," Clara hissed, but I could feel the pull. Every fiber of my being drew me toward the mirror. The stone pulsed violently, as if warning me, as if begging me to act. The first encounter, the reflection warped. Not just my reflection, but dark, watery faces floating inside the mirrored surface. Whispers, soft and insistent, filled the room. "Caleb, join us. The water remembers." My breath caught in my throat. I raised the river stone, gripping it like a talisman. The shadows recoiled, but the reflection remained. It shifted, showing scenes of drowning, of old faces smiling eerily, then vanishing. Clara grabbed my arm. "We need to leave, now." But I couldn't move. My legs were rooted. Every mirror, every reflective surface in the apartment pulsed, vibrating like liquid under pressure. Margaret's face emerged from the largest mirror, water dripping from her hair, mouth opening in a silent scream. "Caleb," she whispered, the sound wet, slithering, alive. "You cannot escape me." I fought to pull my legs backward. The stone pulsed violently, hotter than my hand should have tolerated. It was more than cold. It was alive, vibrating, hungry, and in its vibration, I felt something deep and terrifying. The river remembered everything. Researching the curse. We spent the next hours poring through archives, newspapers, and the Historical Society's records. Every page whispered a tale of the river's dark memory. Missing children, drowned villagers, strange disappearances. There were cryptic entries from decades ago, people who had lived by the riverbank and vanished without explanation. Then we found a journal, decades old, written by Elias Harrow, a priest who had lived along the river. His words were frantic but precise. The river remembers. Those who disturb its waters bring the past to life, and it will claim them, one by one, until the debt is repaid. Clara read over my shoulder, trembling. "It's literal," she said. "It remembers, and it's coming for you." A chill washed over me. Every instinct screamed to run. But the truth was clear. There was no hiding. The first physical manifestation. That night, I woke to running water echoing in the apartment. My heart pounded. Shadows moved independently, stretching and twisting. A cold, metallic smell filled the air, like river mud. I glanced at the hallway mirror. The surface shimmered, rippling like a pond disturbed by falling stones. And then her face appeared. Margaret's face, pale, dripping, hauntingly alive. "Caleb," she whispered, voice like water over stones. "You cannot escape me." I stumbled backward, nearly hitting the wall. The shadows around me grew longer, reaching like hands. The stone vibrated violently, glowing faintly. Water seemed to drip from every surface, mirrors, windows, glass, forming shallow puddles on the floor. Clara grabbed my arm, whispering, "The stone! It's protection. Hold it." I raised it over my head. Margaret's face emerged in every reflective surface, twisting, bending, stretching. Her mouth opened unnaturally, black water spilling out like ink. The debt must be repaid. Decision to return to the house. Morning came, gray and overcast. The stone's pulse weakened, but the dread remained. "We could not stay in the city. We have to go back," Clara said quietly. "To the house. To the river. It's the source. It's the only way to end this." I nodded, knowing she was right. The river had awakened, and we were walking straight into its heart. Packing lightly, we prepared for the drive to the small town. Outside, the city seemed to watch us leave, windows reflecting our departure like dark, watery eyes. "It's waiting," Clara whispered. I said nothing. I only knew that the river's memory would not forgive. The drive was silent except for the occasional ripple of the river stone in my pocket. Clouds hung low, pressing down like the sky itself feared what we were about to face. "Do you think we're ready?" I asked Clara. She shook her head. "No, but we don't have a choice." The further we drove, the heavier the air felt. The river beside the road seemed alive, dark and swollen, reflecting our headlights in strange, unnatural patterns. Sometimes I could swear the water moved on its own, forming faces, fingers, mouths, silent warnings we couldn't ignore. Arrival at the town. By dusk, we reached the town. The streets were eerily deserted, fog curling around buildings like ghostly fingers. Windows stared at us like eyes. The air smelled of wet earth, mud, and decay. We parked near the old house. The river beyond it gleamed under the fading light, dark and endless. Even from a distance, I could feel its memory watching, waiting. "We'll find answers inside," Clara said. "But we need to be careful. Whatever Margaret brought back, it's stronger than before." I gripped the river stone tightly. Whatever awaited us inside that house, we were no longer alone. And the river remembered everything. The words echoed in my mind as I held the river stone, its surface slick and cold against my skin. My apartment felt smaller, suffocating. Shadows twisted unnaturally, pooling in corners that had always seemed ordinary before. I could hear a faint dripping sound, though all faucets were off. The chill crawled up my spine like icy fingers, urging me to move, yet rooting me to the spot. I dialed Clara's number, voice trembling. She picked up on the first ring, her own tremor audible. "Caleb, I felt it too. Last night, I could hear whispering, and I dreamt about the river. It's calling you." I exhaled sharply. She had seen it too, felt it. The river's memory wasn't dormant, it was waking. "We need to go back," she whispered, "to the house, to the river. Whatever Margaret brought back, it's not done." The road back to the town. The drive to the small town felt surreal. The fog rolled across the highways like pale ghosts. Streetlights glimmered weakly through the mist, reflecting off puddles that seemed unnaturally dark. Every time I glanced at the river stone in my pocket, it pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat, syncing with the river outside the windows. Clara didn't speak much. Her eyes were fixed on the fog-draped road ahead, but I could feel the tension radiating off her. We both knew the river had not forgotten. "Do you think we can survive it?" I asked, gripping the wheel tightly. She didn't answer at first. Then finally, "We don't have a choice. Whatever is waiting, it's tied to the house, to Margaret, and to you." The weight of inevitability settled over me like wet stone. The river would not be denied. Arrival at the haunted house. The house loomed ahead, cloaked in fog and shadow. Its dark, rotting boards groaned under the wind. The river beyond it glimmered, black and endless. I could feel it calling, whispering, beckoning me closer. We stepped onto the creaking porch. The air smelled of wet earth and decay, pungent and unmistakable. Every step inside the house made the floorboards moan, like the building remembered every previous disturbance. The mirrors along the walls shimmered faintly, distorting reflections. Clara gripped my hand, whispering, "It's alive." Every reflection, it's watching us. The basement door creaked open. A damp, cold air poured upward, carrying the smell of river mud. There were footprints, fresh ones, dragging. Someone or something had been here recently. "Margaret?" I whispered, voice shaking. No answer, only the faint echo of dripping water. Exploring the basement. The basement was thick with dust and debris, broken tools, rotting furniture, piles of boxes that had not been disturbed for decades. But behind a stack of rotting wood, I noticed something new. A dark stain on the floor, glistening as if wet, leading toward a cracked wall. The wall had a small rectangular outline, a hidden panel. I pushed it open, and a gush of cold air hit us. Inside was a chest wrapped in chains, carved with the words, "Do not break the water's bond." Clara gasped, recognizing her grandmother's handwriting. The chains were rusted, but the lock had been replaced recently. Someone, or something, Clara trailed off. "It's been here," I swallowed hard. My pulse raced. Margaret's presence was near, the second mirror inside the chest. We found a second mirror. Smaller than the first, black-framed, warped like liquid. Its surface rippled, shimmering unnaturally. I could see not only my reflection, but hundreds of faces trapped within, eyes pleading, mouths screaming silently. "The river," Clara whispered. "It's collecting them." Suddenly, a hand shot out of the mirror, grabbing her wrist. I lunged forward, pulling her back. Cold water poured from the glass, soaking the floor. The faces writhed, silent screams filling the air with an otherworldly tension. "The stone! The river stone!" Clara screamed. I held it above my head. The stone pulsed violently, glowing bright enough to cast shadows across the entire basement. The faces twisted and dissolved into shadowy ripples. Researching old records. By morning, soaked and exhausted, we researched the town archives, historical newspapers, and old diaries. Stories emerged. Missing children, drowned villagers, inexplicable deaths. A pattern became clear. The river never forgave, never forgot. The priest Elias Harrow's journal offered a chilling confirmation. The river remembers. Those who disturb its waters bring the past to life. It will claim them, one by one, until the debt is repaid. Clara read over my shoulder, shivering. "It's literal. The river. It remembers. It wants you." I felt a cold wave of dread wash over me. There was no escaping. The river's first attack. That night, I awoke to the sound of running water. Shadows moved independently, stretching unnaturally across walls. A metallic smell filled the air. The hallway mirror rippled like liquid, and Margaret's face appeared. Water dripped from her hair, her eyes hollow. "Caleb, you cannot escape me." My legs were rooted to the floor. The river stone pulsed in my pocket, warning me, begging me to act. Water seeped from every surface, pooling on the floor. I raised the stone high. Margaret's face twisted, black water spilling from her mouth, swirling into hundreds of faces trapped in the mirrors. "The debt must be repaid," she hissed. Clara grabbed my arm, chanting protective prayers from Harrow's journal. The stone's glow pushed back the shadows, but the river's memory was relentless. Decision to confront the river. By dawn, we realized hiding was useless. We had to confront the river itself. We packed both mirrors, the stone, and walked toward the riverbank. The water roared like an angry beast, swollen and dark. Ripples formed faces, reaching fingers, mouths screaming silently. Clara began reciting the ritual from the priest's journal. The mirrors vibrated, faces writhing. The river surged violently, water spiraling into the sky, forming tendrils that tried to drag us under. "It won't stop. It wants the debt paid," Clara screamed. I hurled the river stone into the center of the river. The pulse radiated outward, light bursting across the water. Faces in the mirrors shrieked, then dissolved. The water calmed. The river's heartbeat slowed. "It's over. For now," Clara whispered. The river was calm, but the memory lingered. A faint hum under the skin, a pulse in the water. We walked back to the house, exhausted, soaked, but alive. "Do you think it will return?" I asked. Clara shook her head. "Maybe. But for now, we survived." Even months later, the faint shimmer of water in any reflective surface reminded me. The river never forgets. And Margaret, somehow, had finally found a measure of peace. The river never forgets. I could feel its pulse even as the sun rose over the sleepy town. Weeks had passed since the last encounter, yet the whispering remained. Faint, haunting, insistent. Every reflective surface seemed to flicker. Every puddle shimmered as if containing hidden faces. Clara and I had tried to resume normal life, but the nightmares persisted. The river had not forgiven, and it had not forgotten. That morning, a package arrived. No return address. Inside was a small river stone, smooth, wet, cold, and a folded piece of paper. Written in shaky handwriting were 5 words I already knew too well. The current remembers you. I gripped the stone. Its pulse matched the river's rhythm, and I felt a tug deep within me, a call I could no longer ignore. Clara looked at me with dark circles under her eyes, exhaustion etched across her face. "It's calling us again," she said. Her voice trembled. "We can't hide." Not anymore, preparing for the final confrontation. We packed the essentials. The 2 mirrors recovered from the house, protective talismans suggested in Harrow's journal, and the river stone itself. My hands shook as I tucked the stone into my pocket, its pulse throbbing against my palm. The drive to the town was quiet, almost oppressively so. Fog rolled along the highway, curling around streetlights like ghostly fingers. Reflections of the riverstone in the rearview mirror shimmered unnaturally. Every time I glanced at Clara, I felt the weight of what awaited us. "Are you ready?" she asked. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My mind was flooded with memories of shattered mirrors, cold hands, and Margaret's hollow eyes. The river had claimed so many before us. "It doesn't forgive," Clara murmured, "and it won't forget." Arrival at the town. The town was a ghost of itself. Streets were empty, fog wrapping around buildings like living things. Even from a distance, I could see the river, swollen and black, almost waiting. We parked near the house. The river's surface shimmered unnaturally, reflecting our headlights in jagged, liquid patterns. Every instinct screamed to run, but we had no choice. "It starts here," Clara said, voice low. The house loomed ahead, silent and decaying. Windows like eyes staring at us. The air smelled of wet earth, decay, and something deeper, something ancient. We entered cautiously. Mirrors lined the hallway. Each reflection flickered. Faces emerged briefly, then dissolved. Water dripped from the ceiling, pooling on the floor. "It remembers," Clara whispered. "Every disturbance, every touch." I nodded silently. The stone pulsed. Its light faintly illuminated the distorted reflections. We were walking into the heart of the river's memory. The mirrors awaken. We carried the mirrors to the basement. The air grew colder with each step. Shadows twisted unnaturally. A faint whispering filled the room. My breath fogged in the cold air. Suddenly, the smaller mirror pulsed. Faces appeared, hundreds of them, trapped in the liquid-like glass. Their mouths moved silently, screaming for release. Water spilled from the edges, forming shallow puddles that spread across the floor. "It's hungry," Clara whispered. "It wants the debt paid." I felt the riverstone pulse violently. Margaret's reflection emerged from the glass, pale and wet, eyes dark and hollow. "You cannot escape," she whispered. Cold tendrils shot from the mirrors, wrapping around our legs. I fell backward, dragging Clara with me. The stone's light flared, pushing the shadows back temporarily. But the river's memory was relentless. "The debt must be repaid," Margaret hissed, water dripping from her hair. The ritual begins. Following Harrow's journal, Clara began reciting the incantation, voice trembling but steady. I held the riverstone high, its pulse matching her chant. The mirrors vibrated violently. Water inside them twisted, forming faces, hands, mouths, all reaching for us. The basement shook, as if the house itself remembered every touch, every step we had ever taken here. Suddenly, one mirror cracked. The sound was deafening, like rushing water. Margaret's face emerged fully, her form stretching impossibly, black water spilling from her mouth. "You disturb me. You cannot leave." The riverstone flared brilliantly, casting shadows across the walls. Water recoiled, faces screaming, ripples expanding. The mirrors vibrated, cracking further. I shouted to Clara, "Hurry! Finish the ritual!" Her voice rose, chanting faster. The mirrors pulsed with each syllable. Water hissed, rising, forming black tendrils that tried to pull us in. "No, not yet." Margaret's voice slithered through the air. The river's wrath, the basement flooded. Water rose to our knees, then waist, cold and biting. Shadows twisted within the liquid. Every reflection in the room shimmered with faces from the past, eyes pleading, mouths opening in silent screams. Clara stumbled, nearly dropping her chant. I grabbed her arm, holding the riverstone high. Its light cut through the darkness, pushing the shadows back momentarily. The debt must be repaid. The mirrors cracked violently, then shattered. Water sprayed across the room, carrying faces in a final torrent. I could feel the riverstone vibrate violently, as if calling all its energy into one final pulse. We had to act, the final act. Carrying the mirrors and riverstone, we ran to the riverbank. The water roared, black and endless. Ripples formed faces, twisting hands and mouths that screamed silently. The river surged toward us, trying to pull us in. Clara began the incantation again, voice rising above the roar. I hurled the riverstone into the center of the river. Its pulse radiated outward, light bursting across the water. The river's surface churned violently, faces writhing, then dissolving into light. Margaret's reflection appeared one last time, faint, almost human. She smiled faintly, eyes filled with peace. "Perhaps, finally, I am free," she whispered. The river calmed. No hum, no pull, just water, flowing gently under the morning sun. We collapsed on the riverbank, drenched, exhausted, but alive. Epilogue. Months later, life returned, though not fully normal. The river's memory had been quieted, for now. Reflections no longer shimmered. Puddles were just puddles. But sometimes, when the wind carries the faint scent of river mud, I feel a pulse beneath my feet. The water never forgets. I glance at Clara, now a steadfast companion in this ordeal. We survived the river's memory, but it had left its mark. A reminder that some forces are older, deeper, and more patient than we can comprehend. We walked away from the river together, knowing the past was laid to rest, but aware that the water remembered everything and would always wait. The river was finally calm. Its surface reflected the morning sun like a sheet of glass, unbroken and peaceful. The black, twisted waters, the faces in the mirrors, the cold whispers, all of it seemed to have vanished, leaving only a gentle ripple where the river met the shore. Clara and I sat on the bank, drenched, exhausted, and silent. For the first time in months, there was no pulsing in the river stone, no faint hum, no whispering at the edge of our consciousness. "It's over," Clara whispered, her voice trembling but calm. I nodded, staring at the water. The memory of Margaret, the river's curse, the mirrors, all of it was finally behind us. We had faced the river, confronted its anger, and survived. We slowly stood, brushing mud and water from our clothes. The mirrors and the river stone had been cast into the deepest part of the river, where neither we nor anyone else could disturb them again. It was over. Truly over. As we walked back toward the town, the sun rose higher, burning away the fog that had clung to everything for so long. Birds sang faintly in the distance. The air smelled clean, not of decay, not of waterlogged earth, but of life returning. Clara looked at me, a faint smile on her lips. "Do you think it will ever come back?" she asked softly. I shook my head. Not this time. The river's memory. It's at rest now. We paid the debt. And somehow, I believed it. Somehow, after all the terror, all the haunted nights, and all the whispers in the dark, Margaret had finally found peace. The river no longer demanded, no longer remembered. We walked away together, step by step, leaving the house, the river, and all its horrors behind. The town was waking, unaware of what had unfolded, unaware of the river that had claimed so much, and had now been laid to rest. I glanced back one last time. The river shimmered, quiet and endless, reflecting the morning light. And in that reflection, there was only calm. No faces, no shadows, no whispering. For the first time in years, I felt safe. The house beyond the river had finally surrendered its secrets, and we were free. If this tale sent chills down your spine, and you want more stories that haunt your nights, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like this video if you felt the fear. Comment your thoughts and theories below, and share it with friends who dare to listen. Your support keeps the darkness alive, and the stories coming.